I asked you to send me your first drafts ahead of Euro Fantasy 2024, and in today's video, I'm going to brutally rate them. Now, before we dive into the team ratings, I just want to say a massive thank you to you guys for helping the channel hit 4,000 subscribers. Now we're on the road to 5k. If we could hit that before the start of the next Premier League season, that would be absolutely immense. So if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, we do have a mini league going, as you can see in the bottom right hand corner, the FPL Tom Super League. So if you do want to join that, go to the link in the description or just use the league code there and it'll take you straight into the league. But let's dive in to the first draft that was sent to me on Twitter. Again, if you want to follow me on Twitter, we're closing in on 1,000 followers over there. So again, if you do want to help the channel out or just help me out in general, drop us a follow on there. And when I do more ratings and kind of, ask for your guys' opinions, then you will be able to get involved in future videos. So this is the first one that we had sent in. I'm going to rate each one with a number at the end. I'm also going to obviously put my recommendations and thoughts on players I like and players I don't like. So I think what the best thing I'm going to do is we're going to start off with the players that I do like. I like Bruno Fernandes. I don't have a problem with Cancelo. Ian Maddison, yes. Di Lorenzo, yes. Sabitzer, he's kind of half and half. I think he's a pretty good player. Harry Kane, yes. Chiesa, I'm pretty, I'm quite a fan of that. Then we move on to the players that I don't like. We have Courtois, Pickford, Vertonghen, Kieran Tierney, John McGinn, and then we have Griezmann in here as well, and Eriksen. Now, for me personally, off the bat, I definitely think there is some good points to this draft. Like I've said, I like the Portugal players. They've got a really good fixture in match day one. I rate Di Lorenzo as well, especially if you are on the wildcard or limitless strategy in match day two as well. Italy have a good opening fixture. Then the rest are pretty ridiculous. But I definitely think he is a really, really good shout if you are on that strategy. Now, for me personally, there's kind of one key player missing here. It is Kylian Mbappe. The last time I checked, I think he was around 87 to 89% owned within the game. So he's pretty much going to be like Erling Haaland. He feels like a player that you are just going to have, unfortunately. Even if you don't think he's going to have that good a tournament, I still think he's a player that you are just going to have to suck up, except I'm going to have to pay the big bucks and I'm going to have this man in my team every single week because everybody has him. And if he pops off, well, you're in trouble. So for me personally, item number one, I would be getting rid of Griezmann and I would be putting Kylian Mbappe in there. That's not kind of any slight towards Antoine Griezmann. I think he's a fantastic player and does exceptionally well in European competitions with France, but Kylian Mbappe, his ownership, he could be detrimental to your rank if you want to do well or even do well in your mini leagues. He's probably going to be owned by most people, so it feels like a player you absolutely need to have. In terms of your goalkeepers as well, that's another area for me that I do have a little bit of a gripe on. 5.5 for Courtois, 5 million for Jordan Pickford as well. Both of these seem extremely expensive, especially considering the clean sheet percentage odds as well for these teams. Belgium have a 46% chance of a clean sheet, so pretty good, not bad. But for 5.5 million, I definitely think that money could be utilised elsewhere. Holland have also got a 46% probability of a clean sheet, so Verbergen is the big standout goalkeeper for them. Denmark as well with 44%, 41% for Turkey, above Jordan Pickford as well, where you can go and get a 4.5 million goalkeeper. And then obviously Lunin as well from Ukraine. They have a really good fixture in the opening game against what's the team called? Romania. As well, in match day two, they also have a 40% probability of keeping a clean sheet in that one. So for me personally, you could very easily drop this down to Verbergen and Lunin, or even go and chance your arm at maybe a 4 million goalkeeper. I know there's one that plays for Albania, might be one that plays for Turkey. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but that would free up a lot of money. You could very easily keep a lot of this team together then as well, and make that switch from Griezmann up to Mbappe. So that would be one that I would be doing there. Vertonghen, I personally don't think he's a great pick either, especially when you have the likes of Wout Vass, who both of them play very similar roles. and Wout Vass is 0.5 million cheaper. So for me, that one seems again where you could potentially save a little bit of money, start to free up a little bit of money, and invest to the better midfielders rather than Christian Eriksen. And then Kieran Tierney at 5 million is an absolute joke of a pick, to be honest. Scotland have very, very poor clean sheet odds. I get you might be a Scotland fan and might want to, back your team to do significantly well in this tournament, but their clean sheet odds are just not worth going for Kieran Tierney, in my personal opinion, especially for the price point that you are paying, and depending which strategy you're on as well. There are plenty other high quality defenders in here. Jonathan Tah for 0.5 million less seems a little bit of a no-brainer to me. It also means that you could probably then go and upgrade Christian Eriksen to a Florian Wirtz. Again, there's no other England midfielders in this list. They've got the highest kind of probability of scoring the most goals in match day 1, and quite high for match day 2 and 3 as well. So it does seem like you are missing the trick there without an England midfielder. So for this one, I'm going to rate it at a 5. I definitely think there's some good picks in here, but I definitely think there is a lot of work to be done with this team. But if you do make the tweaks that I suggested, remove the players that I don't think are going to do personally well, I think you could get this in a really, really good shape. And yeah, let's move on to the next one. Moving on to the second draft that was sent in. Again, we're going to start off with the positives. That front three is probably going to be pretty much template, and for very, very good reason. Lukaku, great fixture in match day 1. Harry Kane and Mbappe as well following that. These realistically are probably going to be one of these, I'm putting it out there, are going to be your Golden Boot winners. Take penalties for their sides as well, which is a massive, massive thing. I think in the last World Cup, 19 penalty goals were scored, so it is a big thing that does happen. So very, very strong front three. Mittelstadt, I think, is a great pickup at 4 million as well. Ian Maatsen, I was a big fan of him. Bruno Fernandes, yes. Goalkeeper picks as well. I think both of those work. Dizbuz, we're going to go with that. For Hungary, could potentially play in that one. So that's a decent little pickup. Çalhanoğlu from Turkey as well. I think is a great mid-price midfielder if you were looking to go down that route. So overall, there's a lot more I like about this team, to be honest, than the last one we did see. There's lots of positives. I think you've got the front three correct. Definitely some pretty good midfielder picks in there as well. Trossard and Wirtz, I definitely like both of them. Sabitzer, yeah, he is the main man. He does take penalties and free kicks, so I don't think he's the worst pick in the world. But we need to find a way of potentially, maybe getting an England midfielder in there. I think that's probably going to be the route to go for. Also, not the biggest fan of John Stones. A little bit pricey. I think there could be better options to go for. Again, depending on strategy, there's no Italy defender in here. So if you were thinking about hitting that wildcard button or limitless button in match day 2, that could be the better option there. Get an Italy defender in. That for me would work better than John Stones. They do have the highest probability of getting that clean sheet. Also, no Belgian defenders in here. So again, if you were looking to save that little bit of money, or you could just switch to Timothy Castagne as well. I think he's a fantastic pickup. Also, Denmark have a very high probability of a clean sheet in match day 1. So if you wanted to go down that route as well, there's Christiansen and Mæhle from them as well with pretty good records. Going to be a little bit cheaper as well than John Stones. So again, frees up a little bit of money to do some more creative things with that midfield in my personal opinion. But it's a pretty good one. But like I said, I feel like a Phil Foden, a Jude Bellingham, a Saka would be required because, like I've been saying, England do have the kind of highest predicted goals going into match day 1. Match day 2 as well, they're pretty good. And then match day 3, they are the highest again with France. So realistically, I would be looking to get at least 2 England attackers into this lineup for me personally. I don't think Dominic Szoboszlai is the worst pick in the world, but looking at their expected data, how much can he carry on his back is going to be the big question for this one and for this team. But it's in a lot better position. I think this one is just 1 or 2 tweaks away from potentially becoming a really, really strong match day 1 draft. So I'm going to give this one a 7. Like I said, there's a few tweaks that need to happen, but overall, I think you've got a lot of the big hitters. Just like I said, 1 or 2 small adjustments and this team will be cooking. Moving on to our third draft, and you know what? Just from the initial kind of eye test here, just taking a quick look, I think this is probably the best one we've been sent in so far. I think there are only 1 or 2 potential changes I would make with this team. Starting off with that front line, I pretty much like all of those. You are missing out on Lukaku, who was the highest scoring player in qualifying, so just do bear that in mind. Belgium do have a pretty sexy fixture as well, and do have a higher probability of scoring more goals than Italy in match day 1, so just do bear that one in mind. But again, I don't have a problem with Chiesa. They're up against Albania. You would expect Italy to potentially put a few past them as well, so I don't have a big issue with it. Midfield, Bukayo Saka, yes, I've been screaming out for people to get England midfielders in there. He's a fantastic pickup. Florian Wirtz, yes. Xavi Simons, yes, I'm a big fan of that one. Scott McTominay, though, I am not a big fan of this one. £6.5 million for him. It's quite steep. It's very, very steep for a difficult group as well for Scotland. Again, leading up to the Euros, I think it's the past 6 games that without a win now, Scotland as well. They're playing the hosts as well in match day 1. So going to be an extremely difficult fixture. And for that steep price point, he's definitely not worth it in my personal opinion. Again, if you're a Scottish fan, I get it. You want to have, someone from your own nation in. But if you want to play this game a little bit more seriously, probably don't want to be looking at bringing in the likes of Scott McTominay and people like that. But you know what? For that 6.5 million, my favourite pick is Çalhanoğlu. 11 goals. I think it's 6 assists for Inter so far this season. Well, their season's just finished. So yeah, pretty good season for him. He's playing up against Georgia in match day 1 as well. And realistically, you would expect Turkey to come second in their group. A good opening fixture as well. So I think that could be a really, really nice pickup for that 6.5 million price tag instead. Rodri as well is in there. Now, you might be thinking, if you've come from the FPL side, why the hell are you recommending Rodri? He doesn't do too much. He's a defensive midfielder. Well, there are slightly different point scoring metrics within this game. Obviously, ball recoveries, that's a big one. I think you get a point per 3 ball recoveries, and also get an extra point from scoring outside the box. Everything we've known about Rodri over the course of this season, and since he's been in the Premier League, to be honest as well, that man loves to score from outside the box as well. A little bit of a difficult group for Spain, but you do feel with them playing some maybe harder teams, he probably will be up there for ball recoveries as well. The man of the match does pick up 3 points, so realistically, it doesn't work like the bonus system in FPL, so you just pick up 3 points for the man of the match. Rodri very easily could go and get a man of the match award most weeks as well, because he is one of those players that is absolutely phenomenal. So there's 2 picks that I think would work better than Scott McTominay. Kyle Walker, I'm not actually sure how much he is in the game. He's 5.5, and that seems a little bit steep for me. Now, England do have a very nice group, but I think with the competition at right back, I don't see Kyle Walker playing every single minute for England. So if you are looking to maybe hold out your chips till the later rounds as well, I think he could be a pick that could see a little bit of rotation. Like I've spoke about, Italy do have very good fixtures in match day 1. So maybe again, if you are looking just for that 1 week punt, Di Lorenzo probably going to be your boy in that one. Who's the other Italy defender they've got? They've got a really good one as well. DiMarco takes a lot of the free kicks and corners as well. Had a pretty good season for Inter, I think he plays for, or Milan. One of the 2 sides. Had a pretty good season over in Italy as well. Jonathan Tah, I've spoke about him. Big fan of that. Mittelstadt as well. Goalkeepers, I think, are pretty good. And then the bench players as well, I don't have a problem. So this, for me, is the closest I think we're going to come to maybe probably one of the best drafts I'm going to see throughout the course of today's video. I'm going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10. I think there's a lot of good stuff going off with it. Again, it's just slight improvements, like the likes of Scott McTominay, maybe dropping Kyle Walker down, that could make this team absolutely filthy come match day 1. And moving on to our final draft review. And off the bat, I think this one's not going to score too well. There's some nice players in here, but I think there's a lot to discuss with that one. Lukaku and Mbappe up top. No problems in that one. KDB, the first time we're seeing him here in one of these drafts as well. I think it's a smart pickup. You do expect Belgium to do quite well here against Slovakia in match day 1. But both of them, I think for me personally, you pick one or the other and then utilise that money elsewhere. KDB, quite a pricey asset in the game. And I think Rom is the big boy with penalties that kind of warrants that extra couple mil over KDB, in my personal opinion. Just putting it out there, like I said, I think you go one or the other. And with Lukaku having the penalties, I think that makes him the better of the two assets. Florian Wirtz and Gundogan, I have no problems with either of these guys. I think they could be great pickups for the group stage as well. Germany got a pretty favourable group. Being the host nation as well, usually they do progress, you know, most host nations, unless they've bought their way into maybe an international tournament. I'm looking at you, Qatar. But everyone else who actually, you know, has a good standing usually does quite well when they are the host nations. Now, looking at the defence as well, no problems with any of them. I think maybe Schlotterbeck is a little bit pricey, especially when you consider Jonathan Tah is in there, but he is very good for ball recovery, so that one could be a little bit of, you know, a no-brainer in my personal opinion. Double Portugal defence. Now, Portugal do have a very, very nice group, but double Portugal defence, is it the wisest of options? I think maybe swapping out one of these guys for an Italy defender could be a little bit more of a beneficial strategy, but personally, I could see Portugal going and getting quite a few clean sheets in their group, to be honest. It is quite a favourable group for them, so maybe does lean down that way. Now, let's take a look at some of the things I'm a little bit sceptical of. The goalkeepers. Right, Lunin, not a problem. Radu, not a problem. The problem you've got is they're playing each other. So with this, obviously you're getting automatic substitutions, aren't you? So, you know, not automatic substitutions, manual substitutions each match day. For me, I would not have two goalkeepers playing in the same game. You want them playing on different days. So if one doesn't keep a clean sheet, you get to go again. You get to have another bite at the cherry, if you like. So for me, just drop one of them, keep one of them. I probably would be keeping Lunin and replacing the Romanian goalkeeper, to be honest. Go and find another goalkeeper around that 4.5 million price tag that plays on a different day, so it does give you an option to go and play one of these two rather than having them both play in the same game. Seems a little bit redundant for me, in my personal opinion. Dubrovnik, I think, is a really good pickup. 7.5 million for him against Romania in match day 1 could be a really, really, you know, hidden gem maybe for game week 1 with that positive fixture for them, so don't have a problem with that one. My problem does lie, though, with Mudryk. You've got you're going to have like 3 Ukrainian players. I know it's a pretty easy fixture, but they're not like a top quality team. And Mudryk for 7 million, for me personally, feels very, very expensive. I've spoken about Çalhanoğlu being at 6.5. He, for me, feels like the better of the two picks. Again, gives you another player that plays on a completely different day, but yeah, I'm just not a fan of Mudryk, in my personal opinion. For 7 million, I don't think he's worth it. Spoke about Rodri as well. I'm just having a look through, seeing if there's any other potential players you might want to go and pick up around this price point that, for me, have better fixtures. Xavi Simons at 7 as well. Ferran Torres at 7.5, but he's down as a forward, so ignore that one. But yeah, I definitely think I would be taking a look. Cole Palmer at 7.5 as well could be a little bit of a decent shout if, you know, maybe he starts both friendlies. Gareth's got him in his plans to start him in match day 1. I think he would be the better of the picks than Mudryk. His numbers in the Premier League this year have been pretty disappointing, and I think you've already got a Ukrainian attacker against a weakened Romania side, but I don't think I'd be looking to double my chances. They're not the best of teams in terms of that. I'm just going to quickly have a look at their predicted goals for this week, see where they kind of line up. Ukraine, okay, 1.4 predicted goals in the opening match day. It's not the worst, it's not the best in the world, but when you're comparing it to the likes of Belgium, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Germany, England, like I've spoke about, with such higher probabilities of picking up goals in match day 1, for me personally, I think I would not be having Mikhail Mudryk in my side. So for this one, I think we're going to go with 6.5. I definitely think there's some strong areas, but again, probably needs a little bit of rebalance with the budget. Maybe looking to drop one of KDB or Lukaku. No England attackers in here as well. Does seem a little bit kind of foolish, in my opinion, with them being the highest predicted side. 4 goals over the course of the group stage as well. We spoke about Mudryk in length as well, and the goalkeeper situation. So 6.5 for that one. Not the worst, but again, definitely needs some improvements if we're going to, you know, have a positive start at the start of Euro 2024 Fantasy. Thank you very much for watching today, guys. Like I said, if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, be sure to like, comment, and of course, subscribe to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. Like I said, we're on the road to 5k now. It would be absolutely immense if we could hit that before the start of the Premier League season. But thank you very much from me, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in match day 1.